Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. At the outset, I would like to convey on behalf of Dr. Honorable Plenary, our Minister of Health and Human Resources of Mauritius, his deep regret for not being able to attend the summit due to last-minute pressing commitments. The Honorable Minister has designated me to deliver the keynote address on his behalf. I know it's at the last moment asking us to brief us the address. I'll try to be as brief as possible because it has been prepared for a long 15 minutes address, but it has been cut more than half. It is an honor to address such a distinguished gathering audience at the second edition of the Digital Learning World Education Summit organized by the All India Council for Technical Education, the Center for Science Development and other partners. I thank the organizers for their sustained interest in improving education through the collaboration and networking of education leaders throughout the world. It is almost a cliche today to emphasize that development of education is of critical importance in ensuring societal transformation and in enabling emerging and developing nations to scale up to new levels of development. There is nothing new in that fact. For every generation of thinkers, the education has reflected on the capacity of education to become the fulcrum for change. What makes the whole scenario different today is that the 21st century poses new challenges. It demands of our educational institutions the ability to inculcate in our learners the means that will enable them to operate in a knowledge-driven society. That means they should have the knowledge, skills, and attitude that will help them live empowered and fulfilled lives. Let us be clear about this. Most jobs that will be needed in 20 years from now do not exist today. It represents a training, innovation, and challenge which necessitates new learning talents which most of our learning systems are not yet fully adapted to. We can ask ourselves to what extent our learning systems foster the skills of tomorrow that we need to inculcate in our use of today. These skills include problem solving, flexibility, agility, resourcefulness, collaboration, and teamwork. The goal of creating such an adaptable workforce is the knowledge society cannot be the role of government alone, but it will be through the synergy development among all stakeholders. The implication of education is not the time, is that time that has come for us to become innovative in our learning strategies to cope with the imperative of a growing society based on research, innovation, and technology. Education simply cannot afford to miss the logical knowledge trend. Our knowledge lies in transforming our teachers from a content transmission mode into mediators of knowledge. Teachers are slowly coming to grasp that students no longer have the teachers and the schools as primary source of information, but that information now becomes accessible to all around the students in the TV, the radio, newspapers, internet, DVDs, and mobile technologies. The way children are learning is therefore fast changing. Mobile internet is spreading. As mobile technologies become cheaper and more accessible in every nook and corner of every nation, I have no doubt that although mobile learning is in infancy, it will slowly but inexorably come up with user-centered education activities and apps that will make knowledge dissemination literally become accessible to one's fingertips everywhere. What is cutting-edge research and innovation today will I am convinced, be a daily usage tomorrow. We must, however, never forget that we are in education, and it is not the technology that is critical, but the way we implement it in the education system. It is important that we plan the process and that countries carefully choose what they can or cannot do to expand the education use of, expand the use of ICT in their own educational system. It will not suffice to introduce the one laptop per child project or introduce Wi-Fi in the classroom for a magic wand to suddenly improve the already failing system for due of lack of teachers or qualified teachers and poor curriculum. What has worked in other locations may not necessarily be suitable in our own developing nations. Governance, especially good governance in education, has become the new name of the game. It is important here to emphasize the need to ensure coordination of efforts in making innovation in education a reality. It will not suffice to put a computer in a school to make our school become better schools. There are too many examples of computers being introduced in a school context without the necessary curricula being updated and funding to take off. Mind you, the hastening of technology alone will not yield desired result if the dominant culture remains the culture of transmission. Training of our teachers is therefore critical, as well as the empowering of our heads of institution to themselves becoming conversant with technology so that they can better manage them. As we can see, managing the system and making this sustainable in the long term is as important as ensuring that technology is brought in. There is little doubt that the introduction of ICT as a cross-cutting tool is one key element in enhancing the emergence of developing nations. Yet, this will never be successful if we do not focus on the most essential component of the system, the human component. It is critical that our human resource is convinced that they can transform their own countries into making them model and in line with a globalized environment. This is all the more true for a country like Mauritius, where the smallest and vulnerability of the island makes it such that there is a scarcity of natural resources. Hence, the core of our action has always been centered on investment in people resources. To be able to do this, we must empower our teaching force and give them the means to successfully implement the digitization process. We cannot expect miracles from our education system in terms of digitization if the classrooms themselves do not have electricity, or if they do not provide with the technology, or if they do not have the related and adapted digital contents and support from everyone, including school teacher leaders, all teachers, and the inspectorate. There is a whole constellation of measures to stake here, and if we want this to be success, all the puzzle pieces need to be first put in place. And managing the system needs not only happen in education, but there must be a national commitment in ICT to drive the process forward. Although we are a small developing nation with just over 1.2 million inhabitants and almost no natural resource other than our surrounding Indian Ocean, we have striven to make the emergence of the knowledge society a reality and brought it a step to counteract the digital divide. The ICT sector, amid a nascent industry a few years ago, is now the third pillar of Mauritian economy, with a GDP in contribution nearing 6.8%, a turnover of $1 billion, and directly employing more than 6 16,000 people with follow-on benefit for many more. The challenge of Mauritius has been to generate momentum over the years through the creation of an advocating nations framework to create digital online technologies and associated services which are not only accessible but also affordable to the citizen. The true value of ICT must be centered cross-cutting them with the natural system, and this is critical driven, which is centered for major ICT uptakes and economic multipliers in the making of the intelligent Mauritius branded as iMauritius. This summit meeting has fixed for itself one of its most crucial targets, which is that of sharing good practices. All countries in the world has involved in a series of activities and innovative educational programs that are distinctly relevant to their needs. The unfortunate thing is that these practices often stay within national boundaries instead of helping other countries to be exposed to them, and who knows adapt these to their own needs. These two-day meetings will therefore provide a platform, if not formally, at least informally, for a profitable exchange of views and good practices. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.